shedding light into where this investigation is headed 5 months later. Among the defendants is Thomas Webster, a former New York police officer and former Marine who is seen in body camera footage released by the Justice Department attacking a Capitol officer with a flagpole. Webster is fighting to be released from jail. Whether he can be released is scheduled to be decided by Thursday. Another new court filing calls the actions of an insurrectionist, an accused member of the Proud Boys, actions of terrorism. Another filing from the state of Texas specifies a suspected rioter had a handgun in a holster on his waist when he faced off with the Capitol Police that day. A filing which pretty much debunks Senator Ron Johnson's claim that what happened on January 6th did not look like an armed insurrection. And with me now is former U.S. Attorney Harry Litman. He's the host of the podcast Talking Feds and a legal affairs columnist for the LA Times. Harry, okay, give us a sense of the legal repercussions of the use of the word terrorism in these transcripts that were just released. The FBI seems to be describing it that way in terms of what happened on January 6th.
Right, and potentially could actually redound in the charges that they file, because there are charges you could file, Zerlina, under the federal code having to do with terrorism. I don't think that's what's going on. I think they are leaving no stone unturned to kind of portray and determine the color of what happened here. Were the insurrectionists influenced by staff, members of Congress, Trump loyalists like Roger Stone and Alex Jones? They're really wanting to paint a full picture rather than we see their biggest charges against some of the people. They are criminal conspiracy and insurrection. They packed plenty of the wallop already, and that's the overall code that they're going after. But the picture, deservedly, is one of terrorism. These were domestic terrorists.
You mentioned Roger Stone and other Trump allies. Their names are coming up in some of the transcripts that have been released, but also they were at many of the pre-rally events the night before. On January 5th, Roger Stone was a speaker at one of the rallies that's mentioned in many of these transcripts. In terms of the legal ramifications for that, how do they factor into this overall story? Are they eventually going to be included in some of these conspiracy charges?
Right. They were not just there. They made really incendiary comments. And look, we already do have a conspiracy. 9 people have been charged. So anyone, including Stone, Jones, Alexander, who adopted that unlawful purpose and did any overt act would be guilty of a conspiracy. In the case of a Stone, we know from previous conduct that the department isn't spoiling generally to go after him and former Trump people, but the paramount goal here is to really leave, forgive the expression, no stone unturned with respect to January 6th. So even if it's only a matter of understanding why these other people, the Websters of the world, were radicalized and why they listened to this obviously false propaganda, you still want to know about Stone and Jones, etc. But could it progress to potential charges? You bet, because all it would be a matter of is their having adopted the same agreement that already has been charged.
This is all very fascinating and important as we see the fallout and the consequences of what happened on January 6th. I think in the Netflix documentary, they call Roger Stone the Forrest Gump of politics. He's just everywhere in all of the stories. Harry, thank you so much for being here tonight and helping us understand.